I'm Steve Lentini, and I shouldn't be here. In fact, I should be in the cemetery. November 13th, I was doing a sales training for a group of my clients. 1 second I was fine. The next second, I needed an ambulance. And I'm going to tell you what I learned after I survived flatlining 5 days later. And I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do as a leader to make sure you don't need CPR for your sales. I'm Steve Lentini. Welcome to my channel. And I've been in sales management, sales training, coaching, and leading people for over 45 years. And when I was 50, so that was over 22 years ago, I had a big shock. There was no notice on my calendar. Hey, today, enjoy your day, Steve. This is going to be your last day. So I can tell you that it did turn out to be the most amazing gift of my life, the most amazing miracle, and it led to the beginning of me writing 13 books, another couple more on the way this year, and learning how to manage what I call this voice in our head, the acorn brain, this voice that often has self-limiting talk, has negative talk, loves all kinds of complaints and grievances, and makes victims even out of some of the best people for periods of time. And so what I learned was it's gratitude and surrender to the moment and reminding yourself you do live in a miracle. So I want you to avoid having to give CPR to flatlining sales or sales teams. So here are some things that you can do. Number 1, manage that voice in your head. Watch out for grievances and complaints because they keep you stuck. R.J. Spina wrote the book Superconsciousness, and he calls it electromagnetic interference. He gives it a term. I just say this, it delays your own good. And so if you've got a complaint and a grievance or a grievance about someone who works for you, someone in your life, someone at the company, here's what you have to do. Take action, go to the person who can do something about it, or let it go. And to know exactly whether you take action or let it go, you let it go if it's something you cannot control. If you can control it, if you can go to the person or people that can do something about it, that's your job. Take action. Because we live in a universe, we live in a miracle, we live in something. Even today, after all the modern science, the physicists still can't explain it. And the day they say, hey, we found what created this universe, to confound them, all you have to ask is, well, what created that? It's an unending question. In your life, though, it doesn't have to be an unending question. Life is a gift. That's the second thing that you have to look at, is that things that bother you and people that really bug you are actually your greatest gifts. They're there to redirect you, to repurpose you, to teach you, and help you grow. And that's a different way of looking at things. And I have worked with people for up to 26 years that are leading companies, leading sales teams. They've learned that about themselves, and they've learned mostly, because we're human, we're going to have complaints. They've learned mostly to look at everything as a gift. Especially the biggest challenges, the darkest times, and the people and situations that really bug them. I mean, for me, I owned the license for a national sales training program. It was never going to be my own work. And I held that license for almost 5 years and was actually conducting a training class when I needed an ambulance. I felt like I had been shot in the abdomen or knifed. Never any symptoms. So I hadn't planned for that, but it's funny because that was never going to be my own work. It seems like life gave me a whack with a 2x4. And being out of work for 6 months, and I was in the hospital for 60 days straight and 40 out of the next 60, 100 days, think about that, out of work 6 months, how much income do you think comes in when you're in a hospital room? I mean, it was literally zero. Although what did occur was $24,000 came in the mail after a month when people heard about my circumstances, lives I had touched, people I had helped. And that's my next thing, is to be giving, be giving, even as a salesperson or a sales leader. So a sales leader helps his team win. Push the cart up the hill. Don't whip the ox. And how do you do that? You identify your ideal clients and you help people target clients that are profitable and productive. And you identify them by helping them develop questions, and you give them permission to find the fit. You give them permission to walk away, and you teach them how to say no. We wouldn't be able to say yes to that, Mr. Customer or Mr. Client or Mr. or Mrs. Future Client. We wouldn't be able to say yes to that. Would you like to hear what we would say yes to? So you're building their curiosity and giving them permission to walk away. Their goal is to find the fit, not close right away. And you help them by not saying, what did you close lately? Hey, let's take a look at your pipeline. Let's talk about the thinking that went into putting them in your pipeline. What have your conversations been? What's the stage of your discovery and questions? What have you heard so far? You help them. The next thing is with salespeople is to give them enough time to succeed. A lot of companies that I work with have given people extra time, not 90 days or 6 months. They even give people the opening to the second year. And I've seen it a number of times with some coaching for that person. That person that they would discussing letting go turns into a superstar by giving them enough time. It takes time to learn the ropes. Unless you're hiring somebody with industry experience, that would be the exception. Now, I'm not suggesting you stay with them 2, 3, or 4 years, more than a year. Give them 15 months, perhaps even 18. The next thing is sales veterans that flatline. That's a conversation. If all of a sudden their sales have tapered off, maybe declining a little bit or flatlining, they're not growing or not growing much, that's a coaching again. You could have a coach for them, or you can learn how to coach them, which is, hey, 3 years ago, you were doing great. And 2 years ago, it slowed down a little bit. And then last year, it really slowed down. So let's talk about what you were doing 3 years ago and the difference between then and now. Understand what they did when it was working, and then brainstorm and help them come up with either new ways or going back to the old behavior that worked. Because sales success is about managing behaviors, not the numbers. Make sure they're doing every day disciplined behaviors that you know work. That's the other thing. The company can have a program that says, here's what we recommend, and this is what we want you to do in the beginning. And then for people that have flatlined later, sales veterans, or their sales are slowing, go back to the basics, sit with them, and see if they've gotten far away from what worked. Because it's behavior that gives you sales results, and sales managers need to be managing behaviors. The other thing is, don't always promote your best salespeople to managers. And if you do promote them to managers, get them coaching and training. Most top salespeople are not the best managers because they're often pushing the edges of the boundaries and are outside of what's acceptable behaviors in the office and with paperwork. You know what I'm saying is true. So look for good managers. And I'm not saying don't promote people that you like, respect, and admire, and they're good salespeople. Just help them become good managers, helping people win. And the last thing is to teach people, your team, to help people buy. I wrote the book Helping People Buy in 2015, and Dave Brown wrote the book Servant Selling. And there's plenty of other programs out there that talk about the same approach. The Challenger Sale, for example, another one. It's about consulting and working with people, helping them find the fit, understanding what you can do to solve their problem. And then the key secret is, if what you do doesn't have what they need, if you're not a fit, is to send them elsewhere, because they'll remember that you were educating them. that you became their ally in the trenches with them. If you're teaching people to push something without regard for whether it's a good fit to solve your client's problems, because you just want to know what they sold lately, that pushing energy, just think about that. That person has commission breath and it stinks. Clients today know that that person is pushing what gives them the best commission or will make them a star in the eyes of the company. You have to detach from outcomes and become the consultant, the educator, and with integrity so that you have a passion for finding the fit and giving people the right solution, even if it's not you. Now, if you'd like more information, go to other YouTube's videos on my channel. I'm glad to help. It's what I do. And remember, we live in a miracle. Find time every day to think about what you're grateful for, count your blessings, and look at what life is showing you. Life is a friend. It's a gift, especially when it bugs you most. Thank you.